What's up? It's Rousawn, your communication coach, and I'm excited. I have something that I believe is going to help you become a better communicator. And we know that oftentimes in life, the separation from where you're at right now to where you want to be is bridged by communication. Communication creates separation. So if you want to become better in life in any area, you can actually start by becoming a better and more impactful communicator. Have you noticed, though, that some communicators, and you're having conversation, and I just want to, just your first time watching the show here, I want you to really understand that when you hear communication, it's not just a person who speaks from stage. Yes, I'm one of those people that speak from stage, travel the country to do that. It's great. But I have many more conversations in life than I give presentations. I may give one or two presentations a day sometimes, but I'm having hundreds of conversations throughout the day. Whether it's a text message, whether it's in person, whether it's on the phone, I'm having a ton of conversations, and I'd imagine that you are too. And so have you noticed that some people you're speaking to have a really good way of being able to answer questions quickly, clearly, concisely, and with a lot of impact? And if that's not you, I don't want you to trip on it. Like, some of these people, it's not that they're smarter than you. It's not that your brain is slow. It's not that you can't get it. People who respond quickly and have a very well thought out response that's clear and allows you to take action, chances are they have frameworks and systems in their mind that allow them to do that. They're not just talking for the sake of talking. They have a system and a framework that they process what you said, and they are responding to you from a system or a framework. And so what I want to do is I want to give you one of those frameworks today, a framework that I use in my own life during conversations when I'm chatting with people, whether it's at an event, whether it's before or after church, whether it's in the community, whether it's at one of my daughter's volleyball games, soccer games, basketball, you name it. This is a framework or a system that I use to help me listen, but also respond in a way that's clear, concise, and to the point. In fact, let's be real, I used this very thing just last week with my spouse. Again, becoming a better communicator is going to help you be a better spouse. And so I'm going to give it to you, but I'm actually going to give it to you first and we'll walk through it. I call this the P.R.E.P, the P.R.E.P system or the P.R.E.P format and a framework that I use on a regular basis. P.R.E.P, P-R-E-P. It's the acronym stands for point. Think about it. You have a point. I want you to have a reason. I want you to give an example, and then I want you to restate the point. So point, reason, example, point. It's that simple. When you're listening to somebody, if you respond with P.R.E.P, if you have already prepped, you can use P.R.E.P. And if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And you don't have to be frustrated that you forgot what you were going to say or you said something and it wasn't clear. I want you to run it through this framework. And I guarantee you, it's going to shift some things and change your trajectory and your impact and influence in conversation. So P.R.E.P, point. This is the conversation my wife and I have. I told you in a previous show, we really like going out to eat. We eat out all the time. But sometimes I'm like, man, we need to stop going out to eat. We don't even like some of the restaurants we're eating at locally, but we're just eating out for the sake of eating out. And it's costing a lot of money. So let's eat in this week. We're like, cool, shake on it. Yeah, it's all good. But then Tuesday rolls around. And now it's like, what are we going to do? We're going to go out to eat. And we found that we're putting some things into our body, that aren't the healthiest, right? And we're just wasting money on things that aren't even giving us the right nutrients that we need and the fuel that we need. And it's just frustrating. And so I told my wife, I said, babe, we really need to find a way to plan for the week as opposed to just winging it and trying to figure it out as we go. No, that's the point that I made. And that's where most people stop. They make the point and they just stop there. But what that does is to the person on the other side, it's confusing. Sometimes it can be offensive depending on the nature of the conversation. And so that's why it's important to move from the point that you just made into the reason, right? I want you to give the why behind the what you just said. As communicators, it's important that we build those layers because those layers create trust and intimacy within the conversation. So I'm not just going to make a point. I'm going to make a point, but give a reason. That reason is the thing that starts bringing trust and creates closeness and intimacy. So I say, hey, listen, I believe that we're putting things in our body that we don't need to. It's even more important than the money we're spending, the time that we're trying to figure this stuff out on the fly. It's frustrating. That was my reason. The point was we need to do something else. The reason was, babe, the most important thing that we have is time. and we're wasting an hour, hour and a half trying to figure things out. It's just a waste. If we do that a couple of times a week, that's 8 hours a month that we're just wasting trying to figure things out. That was the reason. Like, I want more of my time back. I would rather know what we're going to eat. I'd rather know where we're headed. That way we can spend that hour and a half, 2 hours, instead of trying to figure things out, of connecting, of talking, of figuring some things out, of just being intimate and having real conversations. That's my reason, right? And so I gave an example to her because the point, then I gave the reason, and then I took it a step further. I gave an example. Because that's the thing we do sometimes. We just want, as communicators, we just want people to follow us for the sake of following us. But I said, no, I wanted to give a point, a reason, and I wanted to be transparent and show an example. I said, hey, do you remember last week you came home and we're trying to figure it out, and we finally decided where we were going to go, and we went there, and now we were agitated, which caused an argument, and now the kids are feeling the tension, and we get to the place we wanted to go to, and now they were closed. And so now we had a back and forth, a disagreement for no reason. We get to the place and it's closed. So we spent more time and energy trying to figure it out, and eventually we got some food that wasn't good for us. I gave an example, not as a, oh, I told you so, but the burden of clarity is on me as the communicator. When you're speaking to someone, the burden of clarity isn't on them to understand you. It's on you to ensure that you're being understood. It's not on the person or the group that's receiving you. When I go to speak for an organization, the burden is not on them to understand me. As a communicator, as a person of authority, it's on me to ensure that they understand me, right? And so that's why I make a point. I gave a reason, but I also showed an example. And it's like, at that point, it's like, oh, you're right. I do remember that. And so now I just went back and restated the point again. I said, that's why I think we need to do a better job of prepping or planning for the weeks ahead. I used the PREP, P.R.E.P, the points, the reason, the example, and then I said the point again. And so as a communicator, and this is applicable in any conversation you're having, if you just run it through that framework of PREP, it's going to help you level up your communication. PREP helps you level up your communication, helps you be clear, concise, to the point, and people will follow you, but not only follow you, they'll be interested in leaning in and engaging with you when you're communicating on that level. Because you remember, communication changes situation. It is the bridge between clarity and confusion. I want to be clear, which means I need to become a better communicator. And I know if you run your communications and conversations through this PREP framework, you're undoubtedly going to become a better communicator. So here I am to help you whenever you're looking to level up as a communicator. Why? Because it's me, Rousawn, your communication coach. And I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, keep communicating at a high level.